And you can hear me okay, correct? Yeah.
Yep, can
Okay.
hear
Okay.
you.
Awesome. Okay. So, I wanted to thank you so much again for being here. And first off, I guess like kind of like an introduction for all the people and all the listeners who want to know more about you and your company.
Mhm,
Um, I want to make sure I say it is Ohkomi
mhm,
Forensics.
mhm.
And tell me who you are, first off, and tell me exactly the reason why you're here and what your company entails.
Okay, yeah. So my name's Haley Omeasoo. I'm a second year PhD student at the University of Montana in the Forensic and Molecular Anthropology program. I grew up on the Blackfeet Reservation in Montana, and I'm also an enrolled member of the Hopi tribe. And most recently, I became the founder and executive director of Ohkomi Forensics. So it is a nonprofit organization under 501(c)(3) that works to provide forensic services to the Indigenous communities based in Montana.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here, Haley. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thanks for
that.
having me.
I'm so excited to know more about your organization and to talk specifically dealing with missing and murdered Indigenous persons crisis that is literally US, Canada, something that's not being talked about. And I like to bring a dire need of awareness for this. And I'm glad that I get to speak with you specifically because you would be the go-to person to know in details. And that's the reason why, as your objective and how you established this company, what was your driving force in regards to that? So I like to ask a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and then we'll probably hit on some of probably not all three of um, the stories that you like to cover, but the good thing is that I will be doing research additionally that I will
Mhm.
be adding into my editing of my podcast to talk more in detail about Ashley, Arden, and Jermaine, which
Okay.
is what you wanted to address. So
Yeah.
let's get started. Let's get started. I'm not sure if you had any questions, but we can always ask me later. I'm the last on the list, so let's keep me on the last of the list because I'm not. It's more about missing, murdered Indigenous persons and the forensic mission that you have created. So, um, can you tell me, or actually tell the listeners about your understanding of the missing and murdered Indigenous people, which is an acronym MMIP, if you're not familiar, the crisis and why it is important to address this issue?
Yeah. Yeah, so the MMIP epidemic refers to our Indigenous relatives that have gone missing, still have not been found. There's little evidence that show, what may happen to them, and their cases often get put on the back burner and oftentimes never solved. Or individuals that have been found that were murdered, but have never received justice for their cases. And I wish I could say that this was an uncommon issue. With these types of cases, but they have been happening for decades. And we don't know exactly if this is an epidemic or a pandemic because this issue doesn't just occur in the United States. It's happening in other areas of the world too. So, in order to help these families finally receive justice and closure and kind of begin the healing process, I think that it's very important that we address this issue and that we address it now.
Exactly. That's why I love having you here. Another voice who speaks out specifically on something, like you mentioned, this is an epidemic, pandemic situation. This is a crisis. This is
Mhm.
something that has been going on for generations, not just for a couple of decades. I mean, historically, for generations, but
Mhm.
for documentation, record purposes, because the majority of it has been erased, burned, discarded, destroyed. We don't know how far back and how many people
Yeah.
this has affected families for generations. I've mentioned about intergenerational trauma, and that hits across the board
Mhm.
for all people of color, specifically for the disproportionate population that the communities that I like to address and to bring them to the forefront because it needs to be talked about. I don't want to have this being dismissed in the public's eye any longer. The more we dismiss it, the more we turn this blind eye that it's not really a serious matter, but it is. It's been, and it needs to be addressed immediately. So having your Ohkomi Forensics mission, how do you think that your mission aligns with the needs of the Indigenous communities that are affected by the MMIP crisis?
Hmm. Yeah, I think by the establishment of Ohkomi Forensics, our organization was motivated by real life issues and cases involving those affected by the MMIP crisis. And so we work to be able to provide forensic services and more resources to Indigenous people so that we can hopefully begin to close more cases that have been considered cold cases with modern day technology.
Yeah, and I probably haven't mentioned to you, Haley, but yeah, I'm doing that too. Don't worry. I'll cover up your sneezes and coughs, so it makes it.
Yeah,
I'll put all the
I
blame on
appreciate that.
me because you're perfect. You're perfect.
Oh,
Uh, but I might have not mentioned it before with you, Haley, but I think I did. Forensic science was always my like. I always had a passion for.
mhm,
I think maybe because I didn't, maybe I was naive or not educated enough as to the driving force for, getting in something into that. Like, what what would be my benefit? What would be beneficial? What would I get out of it in helping other people? I didn't know where and what my place would be.
mhm.
Um, but, can you explain the significance of using both modern forensic methods and traditional knowledge in solving cases and bringing closure to families?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so I think that's one thing that not a lot of researchers and people in the forensics field think about is that when you're working with Indigenous cases, is that there are um, issues with, well, not issues, but something we have to keep in mind is cultural sensitivity, and that there are traditional customs and beliefs that we should be aware of as forensic scientists and as people being involved in these cases. And so that's something that Okami will definitely be incorporating is that traditional knowledge, and making sure that we're consulting and just aware um, of these customs and these beliefs when we're working with Indigenous people because we want to be really mindful of all of that. And we don't want to cause any more harm, than has been the harm that has been caused, with these cases. We want to, kind of assist in the healing process. And so I think by being mindful of that, I think that that's our top priority. Sorry, that was kind of like all over the
No,
place.
no, that's spot on, spot on. Because I was also going to add also is that one of the things that I learned, there's two times that uh, the person that's missing or as well as the family that's been affected by the missing Indigenous person,
Mhm,
they are traumatized in two ways. Not
mhm,
being, not given the recognition in regards to them being missing, and then being dismissed in media or
mhm,
people of different communities
mhm,
not turning attention to the awareness that needs to be addressed on this missing person. Um, Something that really hurts my heart because rarely do you ever see anything come across, and a lot of the different states had to push for the feather alert. We come to the point where we have to force people to see that there is an issue.
mhm.
Um, and I think that maybe it might roll into my next question, but it might not. Uh, let's see. So, like, how would you ensure that, and you kind of mentioned that a little bit after I kind of did my spiel there, But how would you ensure that field services and evacuation conducted by Ohkomi Forensics are culturally sensitive and respectful of the Indigenous traditions and beliefs? You kind of hit on that, but I'm not
Mm.
sure if you wanted to elaborate in that
Yeah.
direction
Yeah.
as
Yeah, so during the consultation process and, prior to providing the actual forensic services, I just think it's important to consult with the family and tribal representatives involved to ensure that we're being respectful of traditions and beliefs while searching on and excavating Indigenous land and handling of human remains. So every tribe is different and has their own traditional customs, so it's important that we're aware of those to ensure what we are doing is okay. However, some forensic techniques, such as the use of DNA, are not in favor of the Indigenous group that we're working with. So just making sure that we're communicating and consulting with them every step of the way to make things work so that we can bring their family member home and assist in finding out what happened to them. Like I said, is that our top priority.
yeah, that's why I was glad to have you back on here. And you're so persistent. I love that. To continue to talk with me, even though I'm, I'm just little me, and I wanted to expand this platform for your opportunity because um, it's an honor to even have to speak with you, Haley.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Let's see. I know you're hitting on some really interesting details about how Okami Forensics, um, the partners do you partner with other labs for DNA testing? Because I know this is a very particular, like you mentioned, it's a very minute in how you're supposed to collect DNA because it's coming from such a small group, and sometimes it's not even available to the system. So, because, like I said, the indigenous community has been dismissed on loads and loads of levels, which infuriates me, and how the communities have been treated from the beginning.
Mhm,
And like I said, it infuriates me that that you're doing, these outside persons are doing these things to
mhm,
the indigenous culture, and taking their culture away from taking their dance from them, taking their whole identity from them.
mhm,
So, that being stated, with other labs for DNA testing, how would you ensure the accuracy and reliability of the
yeah,
DNA testing results when it
mhm.
comes to dealing with partners?
Yeah. So as of right now, we're still in the very early stages of getting our nonprofit up and running. We do hope to have our own lab operating within the next few years or so, but until we can do that, we'll be partnering with DNA labs such as University of Montana's Snow Lab, which is actually the lab that I work in as a graduate student at the University of Montana. So basically, I would ensure the accuracy and reliability of the DNA by either just doing it myself or being overseen by my advisor who specializes in degraded bone DNA. And, she's helped to identify individuals successfully in the past, as well as like assisting others and doing the DNA work too. So should we need to partner with, another lab for evidence collection, for example, I guess I would just make sure that I'm aware of choosing a trustworthy company or individuals that have done similar work until we can, like I said, get our own lab established and bring in our own professional DNA analysts. Um, with that being said, for my PhD project specifically, um, I will be doing or using DNA analysis to help identify individuals that are known historical cases. And so these individuals are unidentified in these collections within like teaching institutions and museums and other collections. Um, and in the way that we can do that because of how DNA has been exploited and how our tribal members have been, um, just kind of mistreated in the past when it comes to DNA. I'll start by just creating my own DNA database that will be tribally owned and controlled for my tribe specifically, to kind of try to build that trust back and just starting there.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I was just hoping that there is someone who um, can help. Because I know it's a very, I can't say it's a new thing, but it's something that's had to be. It's something that's happening. It as we're talking, it's moving forward. It's progressing, and you're helping it progress. And I'm hoping that you find those that you can trust within this, because this is a very sensitive, extremely sensitive thing, because and it's personal
Mm-hmm.
for you as well as the community that you work to find, the names of the persons that are I think that was even asking, like, if there was a Jane and John Doe, what would be another way to identify? I think it was like um white buffalo woman, or
Yeah.
in different indigenous communities, they use,
Mhm.
you use different pseudonyms in regards
Yeah.
to the Jane and John Doe.
Hmm.
That would be awesome to find out if that's something you would do, kind of a broader spectrum when it comes down to the tone to you when you I have so many words, but
Yeah,
they're jumping over each other in my mouth, like trying to get to it.
love it.
Because I'm just so excited about this journey that you're taking on, and
Mhm.
it's not a small feat on top of that. So
Oh, yeah, and it definitely is like a lot of moving parts and just like all these things you have to keep in mind, when trying to do
mhm,
this work. It's and then, being one of the first ones to really take this on has definitely been a lot. And yeah, just trying to navigate all of that has has been a wild ride, but you know,
yes.
hoping to do some good work.
It's so worth it. It's so
Mhm.
worth it, and I am honored. I'm so happy for you. I
Thank
don't
you.
even. It's like I don't even know you, but I know your heart. And I think
Yeah.
that's enough for me to jump
Mm,
with like eagerness and
yeah.
joy, because you're doing something that has been like, finally, yes.
Yeah, I know.
So exciting. We want to bring them all home and have their names,
Wow.
and have them properly respected in their culture and
Mhm.
their communities. That is
Yeah.
so awesome. The outcome is just that's the driving force right there. So, okay, enough of me talking time. I'm so excited about it, because it's like,
Mm.
I was gonna mention when you were talking about that you were trying to create your own database,
Mhm.
and I've been reaching out to off and on. I don't like to push it, but I've been trying to reach out to I think it's Seeds of Sovereignty. She's the one who actually created from what I understand, the first um, Indigenous database
Mm.
for the missing persons. And I have all her contact information if you need it, because she probably
Yeah,
would
that's
be a
great.
great person to talk with.
Yeah.
Um, I think I had a moment where I was trying to do an interview or set up an interview with you, but I think she just started like in 2016, fairly
Mm.
new. So
Mhm.
she probably had a lot on her plate. I respect that. She'll come back around whenever she's ready. I don't like to force people to be like all in their face, but I want to tell people, it's like, this is good stuff. This is such
Yeah.
good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's important to like really get it out there and, like coming on podcasts and talking about it, because I definitely think that we need more Indigenous, representation, in these fields. And, we just, yeah, we gotta keep
Yeah.
building that momentum.
Yes, exactly. All right, on to the next one. On to the next question here. I know, I'm just like, we just let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, let's see. I think we said that once. Mm, You kind of hit on that number six. Can you discuss a time when you had to navigate cultural differences or work in culturally sensitive manner?
Mhm.
You kind of hit on that, but if you want to pass on to that, we can go to the next, or you want to elaborate, it's all up to you.
We can go on to the next one. I didn't
Okay.
really put any notes down.
Yes. No, it's okay. It's okay. We're hitting a lot of ground. A lot of stuff
Yeah.
is in connection with what you do. You're detailed in your answering of the questions that it just literally rolls into the next questions. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Because you're hitting all that ground. And let's see. Can you? Yes. Um, yes. Can you share your thoughts on the role of your nonprofit organization um, in addressing social issues and supporting marginalized communities? You might have hit on that as well. I might be talking too much.
Um,
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 but
I have, I guess, some things to say for number 7 if you want to
yes,
that one.
yes. So how would you build trust and bridges between Indigenous communities and the criminal justice system? Ugh, that's another scenario. As a representative of Ohkomi Forensics, can you please let us know
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah, so I think by being a forensic scientist and then also an Indigenous person that has grown up here most of my life and understands how things work here, I try to be a leader and someone people can trust and go to when they feel like their family member's case is not being handled in the way that they feel it should be. So just being someone that will listen to the people and their needs and using my network of connections with professionals in the forensics field, law enforcement, and the criminal justice system to relay those messages so we can all try and get on the same page to see how we can best assist the situation. That's pretty much all I had to
Yes, all good things, all good things. Let's see. Um, I think that's little bit repetitive and I apologize. But I'm just trying to hit on my bases. I think the
Yeah.
more people know, the more people
Mhm.
are prepared, even though I hate to think of that in a scenario, but you would be the go-to or the persons that you'd be working alongside with, making it happen, getting
Mhm.
things done, making the process a success or at least closer than what has been for decades.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of Okami's role will just kind of be like reassessing some of these cases, especially, these cases that are called cold cases and or can't be solved. Just reassessing them, looking back through all the lines of evidence and just providing new ideas, bringing on more professionals in different areas of expertise that can assist on the case, and we're just kind of taking these on a case to case basis because they're all different and all have different needs. So I think that that's Okami's role in that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Is it okay if I skip to 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you stay informed about the latest developments and oh my gosh, excuse my, that was the wrong word that I was looking for. How do you stay informed about the latest developments and best practices in the field of forensic anthropology?
Yeah. I think I just best stay informed right now by being a graduate student and really connecting with my colleagues and, just doing research. So, like I said, I'm going for my PhD right now. And so I'm around a lot of um, other like really great professionals that are all doing different things. And we're just all sharing ideas and just kind of trying to work together as well as trying to network, like at conferences and stuff like that. I think it has been the best way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Oh, don't apologize.
I'm just like, I'm glowing with just, I don't know. It's something about talking with people who have so much to give, and
Mhm.
you come in with such passion.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Um, Now, can you explain how Ohkomi Forensics work contributes to empowering Indigenous communities affected by the MMIP crisis? Or like you mentioned, pandemic or endemic.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I think with Ohkomi Forensics being one of the first tribally run forensic companies, it kind of shows, the younger generation and shows other Indigenous people that, we can be in these positions and we do belong here. We can take on this work for our people, and, just assessing the situations that we're in as Indigenous people and what we can do to best solve these issues. Um, and so that's one thing that I would like Okami to show to the younger generations, is that you are capable of doing this work, and we got to start taking back our own data and our own research and everything like that. So I just really hope that by starting this organization, that it sparks, interest, and um, that other people want to, uh, you know, go into the forensics field or want to, kind of be in these leadership positions, and wanting to help their people.
Yes, I was just thinking while you're talking, like if you had like futuristic planning, a
Hmm.
program that kind of like, um, the K-12 program that correlates with local schools and how they can get extra credits for particular curriculum or classes that can like to excel in
Yeah.
the interest of getting into that type of
Mhm.
field that you are. So it's like the next generation. That is
Yeah, I know.
awesome.
And once we get our lab established, that's really what I'm hoping for too, is doing like summer lab camps, or like
Yes.
having internships or something available to students, and so that they can get into the lab and start learning, these different processes and learning everything that we do in the forensics field, and kind of spark their interest to maybe start their own company someday. And I think that would be really awesome.
That is, that'll be the day. That would be such a beautiful day. And I think it would be
Wow.
even more beautiful the day that we no longer have to do
Yeah.
this type of shouting to shouting to the mics and rallying and
Hmm.
walking and marching and showing the dresses and showing the posters and showing the people that are from the Indigenous community who are not being heard or not being seen. That'll be the most beautiful day. Um, I hope I'm on this earth to see that last day where the last person of the Indigenous community has finally found all of them. They claim them, they've given them a respect, the name, the recognition, and we don't have to have this conversation anymore, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, me too. I hope that I can see that day as well. I want to be put out of work.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I want to be sitting by the sun and lay in the fields because,
yeah.
be
Yeah.
next to nature. Mother Nature is
Hmm.
calling me for a long time now, but I'm out
Oh,
here,
yeah.
because we still have more work to be done. We have more
Hmm.
work to be done. So I think lastly here, because I believe I have about 8.5 more minutes on our
Yeah.
call. But I wanted to hit on the subject of a couple other things that I didn't put in there. I completely forgot. I apologize. I forgot to
Oh,
say, if the listeners are wanting to know more information about your organization, where can they find your information? Any resources that you could provide that the listeners can connect with you social medially or on your website? will be the best way that they can reach out and at least support or contribute to the cause?
Yeah. So my marketing manager, she's been working tirelessly on our new website. So I would say definitely check that out at ohkomiforensics.com. You can go there to see what services we're providing, kind of our initiative towards the MMIP crisis, as well as donate if you're able to donate. And I love setting up meetings with other people to talk about things, or if you want to consult on a case that I'm not aware of, you can go there to contact me and set up a meeting too. So
Yeah, you should have said that because I will be contacting you. That's for sure. Because I know
yeah,
that I'm needing to get more information on some of the cases that are out there that are still, like you mentioned, that are cold cases. Some cases that only someone who comes from the Indigenous community would know the name of that person, or a person who is a podcaster who they want to bring the awareness and they took the time to respect that person and their story.
yeah,
Um, and that's sad because it needs to be heard everywhere until they are
yeah.
found, until they are named, get their name back. So
Mhm.
one of the stories that I know we can probably quickly hit on them, but we can always add another link. I have enough time. If you wanted me to send another link, we can talk more about it. It is of your choice, but I know that you wanted to choose some stories to talk briefly about. Um, Specifically Ashley Heavy Runner Loring. I put her first name, I'm sorry, her first last name and her last name together. That's what I
Yeah,
did. Like I said, I want to get it out there. The
yeah.
words are jumping over each other. So Ashley Heavy Runner Lauren, as well as Arden Pepion and Jermaine Charlo.
Mhm.
Did you want to specifically talk a little bit about their stories briefly?
Yeah. So I guess the reason why I brought these cases to your attention is because these are three cases that I have helped with, and they are all out of Montana. And there are many, many more cases. But Ashley Loring Heavy Runner is one that I always bring up in every conference speech that I do or any interview, because she was my classmate and my relative from the Blackfeet Reservation. And she's still missing, and she's been missing for over 6 years now. So I'm really hoping that, with the start of Ohkomi Forensics, she has been my biggest motivation to get this organization started. So I'm really hoping that I can give back to her by helping her family find her and, bring closure to her family and healing. With Arden Peppian's case, we have also been helping. She was a 3-year-old, also from the Blackfeet Reservation, that is still missing. And so I'm really hoping that, we can assist in finding her and what happened to her. Because that her case really hits home too, having my own children and, seeing her family having to go out and search by themselves for their little girl is just heartbreaking. And it shouldn't have to fall onto the families. And with Jermaine Charlo's case, she was around the same age that I am, and she also has two little boys that don't know what happened to her. And she was missing out of the Missoula area where I am at now. So I'm hoping to assist more on her case as well and helping find her.
Yeah, I've been following two of the persons that you mentioned, Ashley and Jermaine. Now,
Mhm.
Arden is a completely new name that I didn't even hear, and that just tells you that A, um, the information did not come across,
Mhm.
and that's very heartbreaking, especially for a family who's looking for this 3-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Um, but I will put in my due diligence and research and make sure I give them the respect on this podcast. Even if it's an extension from our episode, I will probably have their stories individually episodes, just kind of like adding to our conversation. So
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
So I think I have 2 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
I know the time went by so fast.
right? When you're doing something that you love,
Hmm.
it's time goes by so fast.
It does.
But I wanted to let you know that everything, if do you have any questions for me? Do you by any chance have?
I don't really, nope, I don't have any questions. I'm just hoping that you'll really edit the heck out of this because I'm really like rambling.
Well, I'm around this just like I said, I
Just
want to
make it
get
make sense.
go. You know, I'm just so ecstatic about the mission that you have ahead of you. I am so like if I was a mother, I am so proud of you.
Oh,
I
thank
might be
you.
older than you, but I'm gonna still say I'm proud of you. I don't even know if I have to be a mother to be proud of you.
Yeah,
But I am
thank
so
you.
proud that you're doing something like this. It's making
Yeah.
a huge, it'll make a huge impression and success. I wish all of that. Um, but yes, I will edit the crap out of it. And what I'll do is what I do is I edit it and then I give you kind of like the draft of the episode
Okay.
and you get to hear it for your ears and whoever you like to share it. And once you give me the, thumbs up or whichever, smiley face or whatever you want to do, I will upload it to the world. If you have a photo of yourself that you'd like me to share as like a part of the logo, the cover, the
Mhm.
episode cover, um, just whatever information
Yeah.
and links,
Okay.
and I will go ahead and put that in the show notes for you.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This was
Yes,
a lot of fun.
it won't be our last. Believe
Yes.
me, I'm gonna find you because I need more of this, and
Yeah.
I will also share that Caesar sovereignty information to you as well.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good.
Well, have a
Awesome.
good weekend. Thank
Yes,
you
you
so much.
too. Bye.
Bye.